Expanding on this further, can you talk about environmental toxins like food as an external source we are putting into our body? Similarly, nowadays we are exposed to pesticides, heavy metals, different pollutants, the air we breathe. So, what is the impact of all these pollutants on our health? And are there any good ways to detoxify?
Yes, that's a very interesting question, and I would like to give you some data that from 2021, we had estimated the survey estimated that we have a rise of 12 more than 12% rise of a cancer in just an span of 3 years. Then I start thinking why we have increased the number of cancer that we are seeing in these days. And then, as I mentioned you, there are multiple causes for that. Maybe they have metabolic syndrome. And one of the aspects what I studied is we are exposed to a toxins, and that's our body cannot detoxify. That leads to a toxic load. So it's a different thing where we have to learn is when two people are exposed to a toxins, one person doesn't have any effect on the toxins because they can detoxify their toxins. On the other side, the one person cannot detoxify, and that leads to a toxic load in the cell, and that's really hamper the cell functions. Now I'll give you another data. In 2019, it's very interesting stuff. 2019, Kerala government has written a letter to a PMO with an urgent notification, and they said clearly in that letter that glyphosate and all the derivative of glyphosate should be stopped or banned immediately. This is in 2019. Why they said so? Because with the agriculture university in Kerala, they had done a lot of studies in the food and the pesticides, and they find out the very high level of this glyphosate on the food.
Right.
And they also said that this glyphosate, when you put it glyphosate for 3 months, you will actually kill all the bugs,
Right.
right? So we are not just creating a toxins and toxic environment for the human body. We are also damaging our earth microbiome, right? And that way, whole scene will change. So coming to your question, that there is no doubt on we are exposed to our toxins nowadays because we have modern lifestyle, modern agriculture methods, and we are using so many chemicals. Glyphosate is one of the example. Otherwise, we are dealing with many kind of chemicals, industrial chemicals, plastics, BPA, and we are also dealing with many endocrine disruptor. So that's a huge impact on our body. And if you are exposed to this kind of toxins, your cell cannot work. Now just imagine that, as everybody agree with me, that we have an exposure of a toxins compared to 50 years back, and same time we have a nutritional deficiencies. Now let's look at the cell. How can cell function? And that's we invite the chronic conditions over there. So yes, you are right that we are exposed to toxins and we have a deficiency of nutrition. Our cell cannot deal with that nutrition or that kind of environment, and they start having expression of some other disease.
And I think even the Wi-Fi signal adds to the problem.
So you can look at the toxin like environmental toxic load. You can see Wi-Fi or 5Gs. But as I mentioned, let's say we have to look at the individual response to a disease or signals, right? So let's say two people are exposed to have a signal, they will not develop a disease. One person already they have a toxic load, they have a nutritional deficiency. The Wi-Fi signal can affect that cell in more intense way.
Absolutely. And talking about autoimmune conditions, they are also on a rise globally. So, how does functional medicine approach autoimmune conditions? Is there any difference from the conventional approach?
So autoimmune condition actually they was very rare. I was studying my MBBS, I think 25 years back, and where we are very, frankly speaking, we put autoimmune condition on a options. We don't study the autoimmune conditions because we don't have autoimmune condition that we see in our patients because at that time acute conditions are more often. and we are dealing with an acute condition, infections. But nowadays, if you look at the data, in the last 20 years, we have a rise of autoimmune conditions. And then again, I think, why we have a rise of autoimmune conditions, why the immune system is creating antibodies. So if you look at the primary function of immune system, then what is the primary function of immune system? Primary function of immune system is to protect us. But let's say if your immune system is bombarded with all triggers, that trigger, as we are discussing earlier, that can be a chemical, can be a dysfunction of your gut microbiome, can be infection itself, can be something else, right? So immune system is not resilience with the environment, and then immune system is upregulated. So when the immune system upregulate, what will do? It will going to damage your own cells, and that's basically foundation of our root cause of your autoimmune conditions. Now, the treatment is we have to work in a conventional medicine. What we do, we shut down the immune system by steroids and
Suppose.
methotrexate, immunomodulator drug. So what they do, they actually shut down the immune response. And obviously, when you shut down the immune response, you will not have any kind of symptoms, because for inflammation, we should be having an immune system. So if we have an immune system and we have trigger, and with the immune system and trigger, we create the inflammation, and that's the reason people have a damage to their cells and the body. So one of the conventional medicine approach is to shut down the immune system, where you will have a symptom-free body and life. But my question is, putting a patient on a chronic suppression of immune system is a good idea?
No.
It's a starting point. Yes, obviously, we have to work on immune system. If somebody having a severe rheumatoid arthritis, severe pain, we have to prevent the joint damage. Yes, of course, we have to use that one, but that could be a starting point where we shut down the immune system, and then we ask the question: why the immune system is too much angry? Why the immune system is too much on upregulated? Then we come to know, oh, this is the gut dysfunction, and they have a gram-negative overgrowth, and this is a one point they are stimulating their immune system. Oh, there is some kind of toxic load. Oh, there is some kind of deficiency of nutrition. Oh, there is some kind of stress in patient's life. So all these factors are playing a role in an immune system. And what is our goal? Our goal is to calm down the immune system and slowly withdraw to a minimum dose of these immunosuppressants.
All right.
So that is the approach you should learn. So basically, we have to learn the principles of functional medicine, principles of how the immune system works, and then you can find out what the patients need.
All right.
Now, if
So
you
I
look at
have
the,
I
yeah,
have a
please go ahead.
follow-up question. So everybody wants to know whether there are cures to disease like autoimmune, or is it just remission where you control it?
Yeah, that's very important questions. Now, if you look at the many disease, like I can say in different way. Now, forget about the remission, forget about the reversal and all the terminology you are looking at the in a conventional word. Just let's look at here. On one side, your health, other side, your disease. Now, all the conventional approach is focusing on the disease, focusing on the disease, focusing on the disease. I will give simple other idea. Why we focus on a disease? Instead, we focus on a dysfunction, correct the function, and focus on health. So our goal is not looking at the remission, looking at the reversal. Our goal is to create the health. Whatever the health we can create, we have to create the health. So we have to change the patient's focus from the disease to the health, and that way you can really make the impact. And these terms like a remission or your reversal, they actually misunderstood and misconceptualized. Now let's give you a simple example. What is a cure? Cure means if you have a typhoid, I give you antibiotic, I kill the bugs, and you will get rid of the typhoid, and I label you are cured of typhoid. But that doesn't mean you will not get an infection again. When you get the infection again, you get the typhoid. So in the first place, had I cured the typhoid? No. I had cured the typhoid at that particular point. Same way, if you look at the immune system, let's say in autoimmune conditions, I make immune system resilience, then immune system is not stimulating or not creating antibodies, right? And immune system calm down, and then you label as a cure. But again, let's say if you have a same kind of stimulus that created the first imbalance of your immune system, again you have that infection or that dysbiosis or that leaky gut or that toxins, what will have? Your immune system again create the antibodies and again damage the cell. So actually, it's all misconception of remission, cure, reversal. But again, in my terminology, if you look at functional medicine science, then of course you can create the health and you can just treat the disease.